So I'm sitting here right next to my grandmother, right here. I'm recording a video about this. My grandfather's outside. There's a black shirt, black sweater, right here on the couch.
It's yours. Don't pull it.
Don't pull it, it's just a sweater.
I don't care what it is. You should put nothing on the floor.
I wasn't gonna put it on the floor. And it was put in my room upstairs. I was sleeping downstairs for a couple days. And all my clothes downstairs have been pulled out and put on the floor. My dad was looking for this sweater. If you look at this statement, which I don't. Hold on one second, just so the volume's down, just for 1 second. You probably can't see it correctly. I know I look awful in the video, I don't care. My dad spelled my name wrong. My name wrong, spelled possessions wrong. It doesn't even matter. Tell your precious, with no you, Ethan. He spelled my name incorrectly. It's pretty bad. If I don't have my black hoodie sweatshirt I wear to work, he took off the couch last night, there would be a problem when I get home. I never touched it. I don't touch anything. I barely pick up my own clothes. And if I barely pick up my own clothes, why would I? Yeah. I'm just remote. So now I'm here with my grandmother, sitting next to her. And you're either wondering how I handle the problem, how I don't handle the problem. But all my clothes downstairs are. I'll use another video to prove that's where my clothes are at. On the floor, he took them all out of the cabinet. So, I mean, there's pain and suffering right in this note. Right in the note. Pain and suffering. I'll show you the cabinet in like 1 minute. So basically that cabinet right there, when my father was on parole, he forced me to put all my clothes in that cabinet. He came in, threw down all these clothes, looking for something that wasn't in there. Yeah, threw them all over the ground. I told my grandfather, but he said it's okay, it's fine. And then like weeks later, my father pulled out a knife. Said if I call the police, then he'll lie to the police. He'll lie to the police. He threatened to hurt me, threatened to assault me. I called his parole officer several times, but apparently nothing happened. So, and he wrote me several notes. I don't know if I have another video right now. But that's what I did every day. I took care of my grandmother. Like, Grandpa, he's not here, is he? See, like, look. Hey, Grandpa, he's not here, is he? Are they?
They went outside. I don't know if they're still out there or not. Like they would somewhere. I wasn't paying attention.
His truck's not here.
His truck's in front.
No.
Yeah, it's in front of the white truck.
No. Yeah. So, you guys just, I mean, that's just, my grandfather's now here. I'll show you where I live in a minute. Just that, like, these videos are important because They steal my car, my guitar, lie to the police, like, throw away all my clothes, force me into a car, tell me to leave. So, like, my grandfather, like, punished my grandmother, and my father just, goes out, parties, and my aunt, was fully aware. She forced my grandmother to sign a power of attorney, so I couldn't do anything about it. I would have gotten her, better, like someplace better. She could afford. This was her house. Like, this was her house. Like, nobody was taking care of her. Then she died. I think that's all I need to put for this video. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Now my father is having somebody move in to help pay for rent. Another woman the next day to help pay for rent. He can't afford the house, but he needs. My grandfather wants him to take care of him. My grandfather wants my father to take care of him. So it's just like, there's, when I came back, I knocked on the door when I came back. Like, my grandfather got like this, like, it's on video, a lot of it, but he ended up going and like sitting down before he let me back in and just started crying because of how bad it is. It's like nobody wants to live in that reality because it's so bad. Then he tells me like never to bring it up, and like, and then he helps out my father. He helps out my father, and then in court, he like one court case, he said like he literally lied. He literally lied and said that, like, he literally said my father never attacked me and never did anything wrong to me. The judge is like, okay. 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 It's like, and then when I wasn't here, like, there would be people supposedly helping my grandmother, but they would leave like halfway through. She's a fall risk. She's a fall risk. I was sleeping on the couch. Like, I called the police because my father came back here and he told my grandfather he was gonna leave. He was just gonna leave. I have a text message with that from my grandfather texted my aunt, telling my aunt that he's just gonna leave. He's just gonna leave. And so he's like manipulating my grandfather. He's done it his entire life. I never asked my grandfather for anything. I never asked him for anything. And because I never asked him, he wanted to like do things for me. I told him not to, because if you think about it now, like, he's like held it over my head. Like, he helped me out with the loan for my motorcycle. Like, I started paying it, paid it. Then he kind of like, he put a couple $1,000 down on my motorcycle. You can see. And like, here's my helmet. Like, my motorcycle, it got stolen. And somebody crashed it in Chicago. And they made me pay $300 to get it out of the impound. No, that's Chicago for you. And then somebody hits my car. And they didn't do an investigation on the person who hit my car. So they buy a new car. And then I come back here. He steals my car keys. The day I bought that new car, because he did not own, like, you own somebody when you pay for their stuff. Because he did not own me. He wanted me to take it right back. It's just the kind of person he is. It's the kind of person he is, a horrible person. Like, you saw how, like, big and buff I was. Like, I used to be big and buff. Like, I used to be, like, huge. And I just, if I lost all my body mass after this ordeal, I couldn't walk. Surely my grandmother couldn't walk. Like, he wouldn't let me use the stove, the telephone. He wouldn't let my grandmother use the telephone. Like, and the power of attorney, like, I can't help her out. So she just suffered. She just suffered. My aunt forced her to sign a power of attorney. She suffered, so I suffered. Yeah, she suffered, so I suffered. She's my mom. You can see my father coming in at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, it's like 5:47 now. Like, it's just that, like, you can see how, like, he's not gonna help my grandmother out. He yelled at her. He thought it was okay. And she has dementia. She's disabled. She's in a wheelchair. My grandfather would tell my grandmother, I have videos of it. Of my grandfather saying, like, to my grandmother, help yourself. She's like, help me. And my grandfather's like yelling, like, help yourself. And because I wasn't recording all the time, that, like, I got lucky. Had I not been recording, then, like, I wouldn't have any evidence. But my grandmother died because my aunt neglected her, my grandfather neglected her, and my father neglected her. Like, I was here every day. And then I was told, she was told to help herself. I was told if I called the police. I did call the police. I called elder abuse. I'm like, this is messed up. Like, this is completely messed up. They came out, and my grandfather wouldn't let my grandmother speak. And my aunt made her sign the power of attorney, so she couldn't go to court or anything. I couldn't be her guardian. I couldn't look after her. My grandfather assaulted my grandmother when she was in a wheelchair. When she was in the wheelchair, he assaulted her. Okay? And he threatened my grandmother to abandon. My grandfather threatened to abandon my grandmother, like, every day. You know what my aunt said? Oh, he's not gonna do that. Like, yes, he is. Yes, he is. Like, and if you look at the videos now, my grandfather, like I posted today, my grandfather, like, needs somebody. Like, he's like, we can be best friends. Like, you need somebody to control. Or like, but I think because he's lost my grandmother, he just wants, like, my father. He's always loved my father. So he's allowed my father to hurt women, and it's not okay. He's allowed my father to hurt women, and it's not okay. And do drugs, etc. Do drugs, etc. 16-minute video. Like, yeah, I couldn't walk afterwards. So the police didn't do anything. Didn't do anything at all. So except they arrested me. Except they arrested me. And after they handcuffed me, they started beating me up. They beat me up a couple times in this house. In this house. In this house. In this house. If my grandfather's gonna lie for my father, who violated his parole, and when the police come and I'm like, this is happening, my grandfather lies to the police, okay? The police are gonna get the wrong information. Plain and simple, they're gonna get the wrong information. So the state of Illinois is extremely corrupted, and has very much, like, caused this. Very much caused this. The city of Rockford caused this. The county of Winnebago in Illinois caused this. The Rockford Police Department caused this. So, and it's a 17-minute video. In court, they only give you they only give you a couple minutes to plead your case, which is messed up. I told my father and grandfather, like, get rid of the internet, because the internet's messed up. They're like, nope, we're gonna keep the internet. If I can't get what I need done on the internet, and it hurts people, then why are we, like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? So, like, the judge says, like, oh, basically the lawyer has the deed to the house in limbo. So they can say, my father can say he owns it, my grandfather can say he owns it. So I have to deal with that lawyer. Another lawyer made my grandmother sign a power of attorney with her broken arm. After like, my grandfather put in flooring. It was wood. I told him not to, because she's gonna slip and fall. She ended up slipping and falling. And when she broke her arm and leg, he made her sign. My grandfather went to the lawyer with my aunt, made her, like, scribble her name. She couldn't even write. She couldn't even write. Like, she didn't know what it was. Like, and it prevented me from administrating her medication. My grandfather forgot to give her medication. Like, my aunt is 110% responsible. Was 110% responsible for the well-being of my grandmother, because my grandfather is senile, and she didn't do anything. Didn't do anything. Like no way in hell I'm gonna accept that the state is works in this manner, and my grandmother gets hurt, and no way in hell I'm going to hold the people accountable for it. I'm going to hold the people accountable for it, because she got hurt and I got hurt, and it threw away all my clothing. My father has thrown away a lot of my grandmother's stuff. After my grandmother died, he threw away a lot of my grandmother's stuff. Like, you piece of crap. You're literally like the devil. Like the devil. Like stuff she wanted, like, either me to have or, like, to keep. Like, things to remember her by. My grandfather said, yeah, let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of it. I mean, there's some clothes over here. Stuff. But, like, if you really loved your mom, you wouldn't want to get rid of her stuff. Like, that's like, those are things that I grew up with. Like, things I grew up with in the house. I grew up in this house. Painted that wall. It's my pool. I bought my own pool table. Air hockey table. Like, because when I was a teenager, it was mine. So, but when the police came, they're like, you're really old. You're older. Why are you living with your grandfather? Why are you living with your grandmother? They're like, this isn't right. Because my grandfather was upset that I called elder abuse. Like, and then when I started sleeping down here, my father would get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. He only did it once, but I slept down here to get away from him because he was like torturing me, and comes down here and tells me, like, go back into the bedroom. Like, just take that in for a minute. Like, to get away from him, I come down here, and then my father comes down here, tells me to go back into the bedroom. Go back into the bedroom. That's where I was. The majority of the time I was in that bedroom. And the police haven't done anything. They've actually done the complete opposite. It's hard to believe, but it's now my job to fix it. I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna hold the people accountable. Like, they don't arrest people for hurting, like, for elder abuse. The state doesn't arrest anybody for elder abuse. Like, I'm gonna hold people accountable. And it's unfortunate is that, like, you have, like, a private organization that has, like, limited power. They're it's called Mercy at Home Health, affiliated with the hospital. Like, they don't have the authority. The state doesn't, like, basically it's a hospital. And but they're, like, backed by, like, the church. Like, in the state, they're backed by the church. And the church says, we don't intervene in, like, domestic relations, domestic violence, when it occurs at the house. And when the police came, my grandfather spoke for my grandmother. That was it.
she signed a power of attorney. She has no way to testify. So they spoke like that was it. That was it. So, and now that I've confronted them about coming in, so like, well, about him, she's now paying rent because my father can't afford this house because he's doing drugs and drinking. So, like, when my father was, like, I would stay home while he goes out, like I'm doing now. So, it's messed up. Like, you don't go to jail your entire life for hurting women and drugs and violence, and then come back here to my grandmother's house, neglect my grandmother, and then torture me, torture her. Like, but in Rockford, Illinois, it's happening. Actually, it's happening. It's happening. It already happened to me and my grandmother. It's happening to somebody else. Happening to somebody else. Like, at this point, my grandfather is just, well, he's pretty senile. Because, well, like, he's not senile for letting my father, like, do this. He's always allowed my father to do this. He has always allowed him to do this. Like, yeah. There's beer on the pool table. There's beer over there. Like, my grandfather's allowing my father to drink and drive. Drink and drive his car. And I asked him, like, hey, can I drive your car? Since, like, you stole mine. You basically jacked mine. And he's like, no. I'm not going to do that. But he'll let my father drink and drive his car. It smells like cigarettes in there. So, you can hear him upstairs. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I told everybody in my family. They didn't do anything. Actually, this device had my resume, had like my compositions on there, and then my uncle went and deleted like all my stuff on here. Like, nobody's signed in right now, like, because it's like the cloud. Nobody's signed into this device right now but my uncle. So my passwords, all that, like, I can't get back into it. Grandfather went to him. He deleted all the stuff off all my, like, it was worth like $50,000, $50,000. Like, the stuff I did was like really, really good. Just deleted it. And then he told my grandfather to file an order of protection, so I would leave the house. The aunt who forced my grandmother to sign a power of attorney, my uncle, her husband, told my grandfather to lie to the court, and on the order of protection said, like, I was up all night and sleeping all day. Up all night and sleeping all day. I just woke up. And like, I'm up every morning. And the judge, I believe it was the one I just went to, and the judge said, like, yeah, I must be causing a problem. No, I'm not causing a problem. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. Like, I don't cause a problem. I live with crazy people who've, like, ruined my life. They have ruined my life. So, I guess it's important to say, like, what I'm gonna do. Like, my father, like, needs to get out of here. And and so I have to do that. And I can only. My grandfather gets Social Security, disability, SSI, and SSDI. And he has like, in one account, he has like over $50,000. He gets like $1,500 from his Social Security every month. He gets $1,500. This house is paid off. He has enough money. He has enough money. And yeah, obviously my father doesn't have money. He's having people move in and out to he's having people move in and out and having pay rent. Yeah, and that's the point. Is my father tried handing me a notice. Didn't fill it out correctly, but handed me a notice like I need to leave again after the last person who was allegedly here and allegedly stole my guitar. $3,000. $3,000. So she has a truck. I think she stole my father's truck. My grandfather's not. He's like, he bought the truck for my father. I think she stole it. So the police are helping out these women by not doing anything about it. Like the woman who's here right now, she has a kid. She has like a 5-year-old. Like what the hell are you doing? It's 6 o'clock in the morning. Like, don't you have to feed your kid? Don't you have to like feed your kid? Like irresponsible people. No, like obviously she's not a good parent. So the state says hell no. We're not gonna like no, yeah. And I would love to tell like DCFS this. My grandfather says I can't ask for her name or any of her information. She's in this house, but I don't get to know who she is, what she does, anything about her. She could be like a serial killer and have to live here for that. Well, that's the type. Like, no. And yeah, they did this. Yeah, so these problems shouldn't be problems. They're not problems in normal houses. Like, I would be like triple the body mass that I am now if like none of this happened. And I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk. And basically my uncle and my aunt and my father and my grandfather are the devil. It's plain and simple. They're the devil. So that's it. I'm gonna lay down here or something. Just because I don't hike. I went upstairs. I was sleeping on the couch. They came in at 5 o'clock in the morning. And they started bringing clothes in. And they put it into the bedroom, my bedroom. And she's like, oh, I'm going to put my clothes in here. I'm going to start paying rent. I'm like, no, you're not. Is it confrontational? Is that, can I not say that in this house? Can I not say that in this house? If I say that in this house, like basically the police get called and I get arrested. That's how it is. That's really what I complain about. Just stupid things like that. Stupid things like that. So there's this Yeah, this was pain and suffering. A lot of pain, a lot of suffering.